All right. So again, today's session is on online learning for all, tips for success for online students. All right, so here we are at the Office of Online Education. We serve to create, promote, and support effective and accessible and flexible learning at Lehman College. So we support both faculty and now our students as well. So Joan Draper, our online enrollment specialist, and Abirami Rajeev, our educational technologist, and I, director of the Office of Online Education, have put this presentation together to share some of the lessons learned and our process and where we are in terms of preparing our students. So just to highlight, our goal at Lehman is to expand our regional presence and increase educational attainment in the Bronx. And of course, even before the pandemic, but even more, I think as we will be thinking about how to strategically grow and support all of our learners, we plan to continue providing flexible and accessible learning opportunities, which is very much aligned with CUNY's mission. So just to highlight a few things that we are doing at Lehman College is essentially we are boosting enrollment in existing online programs. We also are more strategic and intentional about our online course offerings. And we do plan to offer new online programs and certificates. So with these very ambitious goals in mind, we do think it's extremely important to ensure that our students are fully prepared to be successful in the online environment. So during today's presentation, we're going to look at improving understanding or bettering your understanding of online student needs, as well as guiding students about how to prepare for online learning. So I just wanted to draw your attention to these reports. If you're curious to learn about the most recent trends, what's happening in the field, we invite you to review these reports and learn a little bit more about what students nationally are asking in terms of their preferences for online education. So here, as you know, at CUNY, we have 3 modes of instruction. And here we have prepared this very user-friendly infographic for our students to learn about these modes of instruction. So the language was adopted from the official documentation from the CUNY University Registrar and visually represents some of the key information for our students as they make choices about selecting the various courses. So here, one of the key things we wanted to highlight is that it's really challenging what happens for our students. It could be rather challenging for what happens between advising and getting into online.
We'll continue the conversations throughout the day.
Hold on a second.
So what I was noting is that it could be rather confusing for our students in terms of what happens between advising and getting into their online classes. So what we have here is we have an online enrollment specialist, and what we try to do is essentially fill in that gap and ensure that our online students have the supports they need. So we provide a number of services, and I'll talk about what exactly we are currently doing and how we are ensuring that our students, are guided through the process and get into their online classes and are successful and graduate. Essentially, that's our kind of final goal there. So one key thing to note is we do have now a strategy for communicating with online students, right? And essentially, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, but we do have a welcome to online, to Lehman online communication, which are done as targeted messages that were prepared by our office to provide specific instructions to students on what to do next at essentially every step of the way. We also have some systems, and we'll introduce them to you. One key system is Lehman 360. So we are embedding that communication that students can easily access key information, as well as working with the registrar to ensure that students receive key information about online learning as soon as they register for an online class. We also have a Lehman online orientation, and we'll talk about that. And we provide all of the information on our website. So I would like to introduce you to some of the key Lehman College systems that we have in place. And for many of you, I'm assuming, you know, at CUNY, you might have a very similar setup. So we introduce students from the very beginning to the CUNY First account. We instruct them to set up their email. We instruct them on how to access Blackboard, as well as how to access Lehman 360. And this is our key system that pulls the information from the various systems, including CUNY First, and then students are able to have a visual snapshot of where they are and receive key communication. So here, what I'd like to walk you through, essentially, this is what I call, we have a 360-degree orientation for our online students. So we are currently working on redesigning many of these key elements that I will talk about in order to offer them in the redesigned format for the fall semester. So essentially, we're looking sometime at the beginning of August to launch all of these. So many of them have already been put into place, but right now, based on the experiences that we had with remote instruction, we are enhancing and refreshing many of the resources that we've had in place. So I'm going to walk you through and diving into some of these elements. So we have an online course walkthrough video, which is an animated video, and I'll talk about what's in it in a few seconds. The first video is about 3 minutes long. The second one is tips for success, and that's exactly the key, some of the key concepts I'll be talking about in this session as well. So this video is also going to be recorded. And we do have the script for it right now. So again, it will be ready shortly. We also have successfully adopted the Are You Ready orientation, successfully developed at Hostas Community College and adopted by many colleges throughout CUNY. If you are currently not using this orientation, we highly recommend it because it combines tips for success and orientation to Blackboard in a self-paced format that enables students to navigate Blackboard as well. The other thing that is a part of our orientation for online students is the students' FAQs that we have put together originally when students had, when we all transitioned to remote learning, and now we are refreshing them to include some of the questions that we continuously and regularly, receive in our Lehman online inbox. And of course, as I noted earlier, we do have an online enrollment specialist who is able to connect with students, respond to their needs, redirect to the resources that we have in place. So I think it's that very key service that we're able to offer that enables students to feel part of the Lehman community rather than being isolated in the online environment. So I'm going to take you to the next slide and take you through what's in our online course walkthrough video. So some of the key elements that we introduce to our students are the Lehman logins, right? So you might know that at your college as well, you might have multiple logins. So we walk students through that. We introduce them to the Blackboard homepage. We share how to set up their notifications in Blackboard to receive email. We take them through the announcement page, the course syllabus, of course, where to find course materials, assignments, discussion board, grades, course tools, and how to communicate with the instructor and the other students. So essentially, this video is a screencast that is, as I noted, about 3 minutes long. It's rather short, but it really provides just that walkthrough for our students that helps them understand, what to expect once they are in the online classroom. So, and we have, when we created the script for this video, we adopted a lot of language from the Blackboard help, which was really important because that's what students would use once they actually look for some additional help from Blackboard. So now I'm going to apologize for, you might hear some background noise on my side here. So in terms of our tips for success, so I noted earlier that we are in the process of creating an animated video. We do have the script for it, and it's been a really exciting process to put this all together. So in this video, what we do essentially, we talk and introduce and provide some practical tips for our online students. So we focus on the following areas. So we talk about readiness and understanding of online learning. A big portion of this video is actually time management and getting organized. And of course, last but not least is the physical workspace and the learning environment. So we're going to dive deeper into these areas. So I'll start with the readiness for understanding of online learning here. Of course, we drive our students to review the how to be successful online resources. As I noted earlier, those 5 key resources that I've introduced. Then we want to make sure that all of our students have access to technology as well as learning materials from the very first day. It's very key and essential, as you know, at CUNY, for example, we have many faculty who might end up using open educational resources. So we want to introduce some of this information from the very first day of class, so that students know that they would need to have either a laptop or adequate access to reliable internet connection, or even just a device on how to participate. So we give them that key information. And of course, we do guide our students on how to be proactive and resourceful, right? So here we invite our students to utilize our college's help desk to resolve any technical issues. We invite our students to virtually access the Lehman library, and also some of the other services that we have in place, such as tutoring, etc. So when we introduce this particular module of the orientation, essentially it's introduced in such a way that students can quickly learn about key information that they will need essentially, a week before the class starts and for the first 2 weeks. So sort of like those survival tips that they need. So time management and getting organized is really a key, or I would say more substantial portion of our orientation. So of course, we do invite our students to review the syllabus and to create a learning schedule. So here we know that it's extremely important for our students to develop a schedule based on the class requirements and also the some of the deadlines that they would be anticipating, and also to plan to utilize the course syllabus as a guide to follow each week and stay on track, right? So we want to make sure that students know that this is the key resource for them to follow, as well as reach out to the instructor even before classes start. We invite our students to organize their calendar and be very much aware about how much time is expected. The instructor would expect them to spend in a particular assignment, how to engage with the course, so that students students can really plan that into their weekly, daily calendars so that they don't miss any important deadlines. Then, of course, we invite our students to log in every day, and especially in online classes, we know how important it is to not miss out because it's really easy to fall behind if students are not proactive and don't log in every day. So this is a key reminder. And of course, many of us have experienced where technology malfunctions. And so we do tell our students to get themselves organized, use the CUNY University Dropbox or any other platforms where they can back up their homework, where they can store their course materials for their classes as well. So last but not least is one of the key areas here is the physical workspace and the learning environment, right? So we ask our students to create a separate learning environment, have a dedicated space at their home, in their home if possible. And of course, as many of you know, with remote learning, many of the faculty might invite students to actively engage online using video or audio when that is necessary. So we instruct our students on how to be prepared to fully participate on video and audio. And of course, we want our students to be active in their learning experience. So we share some tips with them on how to connect with their classmates, how to connect with the instructor, college staff, anybody from advising, tutoring, library, all of the offices, so that students who take online classes don't feel isolated, feel supported, and know how to make use of the resources that are available to them. So as I noted earlier, you know, we do have a new website that's currently in the redesign process, and that's where all of this information will be posted in addition to the intentional communication that we are providing to our students. And Lehman also has an orientation for all students, for all incoming students. So we are currently designing a specific module for online learners. So the idea here is within the Lehman orientation, what we have learned from the data is that essentially every student at Lehman takes at least one online class within one academic year. So we want to make sure that they get the information about online learning early on as they start their path at Lehman College. So as our office also works with faculty, we want to make sure that our faculty also know and take active steps and be proactive with helping our online students be successful. So some of the things that we recommend to our faculty is we recommend that they point to many of the resources that our office provides, that they do encourage students to reach out to our online enrollment specialist about online learning, that they themselves create a walkthrough video for their own courses, and also be specific about how students can be successful in their course, right? So essentially that could be just a paragraph or a quick, 1-minute audio or video recording that could really help students be successful in the online classes. And of course, checking for understanding. After this information is delivered, it's really helpful if students can take a quiz on some of the information presented. So I'm going to pause here. I know we're out of time. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the screen share and see if there are any questions that we might be able to answer. And Abby and Joan are here, so we are happy to answer any of the questions you might have.
I see that Leslie has a question. Leslie Ward.
Hi. So the question that I have is, did you collaborate with your on-campus disability service offices, especially things like time management can be difficult? So I was just wondering if you collaborated with them.
So we typically do collaborate with them when it comes specifically to the course redesign and course design, because it has to do with creating accessible learning materials. In terms of the various support offices that we direct our students to, we do include that in our orientation as well. Hi, Elise, do you have a question? I think you might have some echo from the other window open, so feel free to either chat or see if you can change that. Yeah, that probably might be a good idea. I had to do that on my end. I had to close the Airmeet window.
Yes, I had to close mine too. Mhm.
Okay, so I hope I can figure out how to get back into the Airmeet thing, because that took me forever. I had to like fill out a registration application about 4 times. So, all right, but this is much better. I'm in Zoom and I don't know how to mute or unmute myself in Airmeet. Oh, well, it's okay.
So I wonder if we also have folks coming in for the next session as well. But if you do have any questions for us on the tips for success and our orientation for online students, please do let us know.